Hi, folks. Welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch. It's been a beautiful day here in the Ozarks. I mean, just like picture perfect day. A really nice one. It's supposed to get cold, I think, starting Sunday. So get ready. It's probably going to be cold enough to be starting up your wood stoves, your fireplaces, and all that kind of stuff. So I hope you're ready. Make sure your flue is all cleaned out and ready. If you've not used it this year, and you start up, fresh. If you haven't cleaned it out, that's not a good thing. It's crazy that I have to say that, but every year I fight house fires because of that exact reason. Anyways, so here we are Friday. We were told this week by both Republicans, Democrats, the news, and everything that a deal was going to be made this week when it comes to the SNAP benefits, food stamps, or even the entire whole budget. And that didn't happen. It's been flip-flopping back and forth between judges saying you have to release it and judges saying you can't release emergency funds. To a judge finally saying that, yes, the government has to pay it, and then the president saying, no, we're not going to pay it. And now, the last I've heard, the White House has filed an injunction to get a stay on the last order, federal judge order, to release the funds to pay SNAP benefits. And so here we are a week into the month for people that would have been used to getting however much money they're getting to pay for their groceries. They're not getting it. Food pantries all over the country are quite busy. I spoke with one of the food pantry directors in my county just today. I've actually talked to her a couple of times this week. And while they're able to maintain supplies only due to the increase of donations of food, there's been a lot of campaigns to, food drives, that it's been much, much busier than normal. Now, here's the thing. I know a lot of you are saying, yeah, but most of those people on food stamps don't need it. They can go get jobs. They need to just go get a job. I would agree with you that most people on food stamps don't need it. They can go get a job. But B, where are the jobs? I mean, there's jobs out there, certainly. There's not a lot of jobs out there. There's been over 1 million, close to 1.5 million jobs lost this year already. And there's another 1.5 million federal employees that have been furloughed. So there's not a lot of jobs. And even if they did go get a job, by the time they got hired and went through everything, and, there's usually a delay on your first paycheck. And, you're talking at the end of the month probably before they get paid. So that's not an immediate fix either. And I don't like it at all that there's lots and lots of people on food that are that dependent upon food stamps. It shouldn't be. But the fact is that there are. But here's the thing. There's a lot of people that get it that do need it. It shouldn't exist, and it would be better off for small, local communities, churches, and things like that to take care of those needs, but they don't. And so we've built a system that is dependent upon this. But there are elderly people, disabled, children, all sorts that depend on it. That they don't have food in the cupboards, and they can't afford it. On top of all that, like I just mentioned, you've got a lot of government employees that are either furloughed or they're being forced to work, but they're not getting paid. And I've talked to numerous people here lately that are working full-time still, and they have yet to receive a paycheck in the last month. And I can tell you from many of them, they're hurting. Now, these aren't people that are part of the big bureaucracy, okay? They're not the ones that's out there, being evil and trampling on your rights. These are people that work as firefighters and as, lawn care people and cooks and, working as a secretary and filing paperwork and just common, everyday, regular jobs, but they're just federal, and they're not getting paid. They're not getting paid, and they have to be there at work, and they're struggling. So they can't go try to get a temp job somewhere to make up for it. They have to keep working, but they're not getting paid. It's absurd. It's wrong. It's wrong. I mean, at least turn them loose, right? So that they can, and say that when the government opens, you can have your job back, but at least between now and then, they can maybe go find some temporary work, do some odd jobs, do something to make money. They can't even do that. Now, we have the president today stating that the economy is strong, inflation is almost nothing, that the American people feel more confident about the economy than ever before. But the truth is all the numbers are showing this the opposite. In fact, consumer confidence is the lowest it's been in over 20 years. Inflation, while the year-over-year inflation is not extremely high, it has gone up in the last few months. The inflation over the last 5 years is up significant, 25 to 45%, depending on what you're looking at. And that's and there's some things even more than that. Our dollar's losing value. We've got China now openly saying that their goal is to unseat the U.S. dollar as the global reserve currency. All that stuff's happening. And then today also, the president, when he was being asked about the economy, he also said that people are excited because AI is coming to the United States. It's all these companies are building AI and all this AI infrastructure and everything. And he was bragging about that. And I'm sitting here thinking, okay, so help me understand this. It sounds a lot like what I've been saying. We've got an economy that is crumbling, right? We got wars and rumors of wars. We've got just the fabric of our society starting to kind of become unraveled, much more than it's had in the past. Thousands and thousands of illegals being rounded up. And while I have no problem with them being rounded up, the optics, what's the right word that I can use on here? The disruption to society is happening. I mean, I was watching a video the other day, and it was a Head Start program. You guys familiar with Head Start program? It's like a preschool, and ICE did a raid on it. There's little kids in there and stuff, and ICE is in there dragging teachers out. I'm not saying that that's inherently wrong. I'm just saying it is very disruptive to American society, and it's causing tensions to rise. People don't have food. They don't have money. They're not able to get their food stamps, whether they deserve them or not. Lots and lots of people are working and not earning a paycheck, and a lot of other people, they ain't working because there's no jobs. And the thing that we're bragging about, help me if I'm wrong here, the thing that we're bragging about now is that AI and AI infrastructure and digital currencies and all that kind of stuff is here and taking over. And that's the thing that we want to brag about. Yeah. I've been talking about this for a long time and quite a bit here lately. And I think most of you understand it and probably agree with me, at least to some extent, right? But maybe others don't. And maybe you need to wake up. I'm not saying that I'm 100% right on everything. But, goodness, folks, can you not see what's going on? The system, our society, everything is being purposely crashed just so that we can bring in a new era. Today, I was at a meeting today, and it just so happened, I didn't expect to see these people, but it just so happened that a state representative and a U.S. congressman in my state were at this meeting. And I got to talk to them privately about the food stamp stuff. Now, of course, the state rep isn't, directly involved in that, but he has connections. He knows things. And then the U.S. one obviously does. And they both said, to be honest with you, No one has a clue when it's going to happen, if they're going to fix it, when they're going to fix it, and how they're going to fix it. They said that basically it's a point of pride right now that both sides are dug in and they're not backing down. And all this talk of like maybe they've worked something, maybe, he said, it's not necessarily true. That it's a big fight, and there's no signs of this being over and the government shutdown being over anytime too soon. And I know that most of you are probably like me that say, let it all shut down. But I've been telling you, and I've told you about this about other things. Yes, X or A or whatever may be good to happen, but it's going to cause a lot of chaos if it does. And that's what's going to keep going on. The longer this happens, the longer this drags out, the worse it's going to get, the more possibility of chaos. And I think that that is exactly what they want. They want it to happen. They want a breakdown of the system. They want it to break down so they can offer a perfect solution. Okay? You need to be ready, folks. For those of you that can still afford it, that aren't broke, that aren't laid off, that may still have a job, you need to be stocking up. And if you haven't done enough and you don't have any, start off with the basics: rice, dried oats, some beans, peanut butter, cans of tuna, things like that. At least you have some food. You have a something to fall back on. Cans of soup, water purification. You need to have the ability, every home should have the ability to basically lock themselves in the home for at least a minimum of 2 weeks. Like to shut yourself off, to hunker down. You need to be able to defend yourself. You need to be able to take care of medical problems and health-related issues. You need to be working towards self-sufficiency, because we have to start breaking away from this, folks, because it is getting bad, and I'm afraid it's only going to get worse. You need to get your houses in order and prepare yourselves mentally, physically, and spiritually. Thanks for watching. Catch you in the next video.